Sway in the morning, Shade 45. You know what we do on this show had to be. Surely we talk about politics every single day. Surely we talk about pop culture every single day. But we're not one of those shows or one of those stations that just use the name hip-hop and talk about use the name hip-hop and don't talk about the culture. I had to have these brothers on the show today because they hold a place true and dear to my heart. They were truly a big part of the inspiration for Sway and King Tech and everything that we've managed to do. Because through their hard work and discipline, they showed us what was possible through dance and culture and without compromising themselves, and through innovation is what made them stand out beyond the regular fray. And for this reason, they're here today. I wanted to sit and talk to them. I know from the 70s, Demons of the Mind. I remember being a kid in Oakland, watching the group Demons of the Mind perform and going, what the hell is that? You know, not understanding that what they were doing would be the key to me elevating my own life and personal growth, because I saw people who looked just like me, people who were in the same age bracket, expressing themselves through strutting, through boogalooing, through popping. They were expressing themselves, telling a story that the world hadn't seen yet. And the fact that they were from Northern California made it even more impressive, because most of the dance crews that you saw back then, or anybody doing anything in the culture, typically it seemed like to me at that time that they were from the East Coast, and so it was a little harder to take ownership in it until I started seeing these guys do it. And then you would go to Pier 39. And when you would go to Pier 39 in San Francisco, you'll see these young men dancing in the streets in such a unique and original way. It was a bigger attraction than the tourist things that they had going at Pier 39, which was designed to attract tourists from all over the world. You would see crowds of hundreds of people surrounding these dudes, and you'll just hear a beatbox or a radio in the background, and these dudes just dancing, doing routines. Fast forward to now, man, they since changed their name to Medea Sirkas. And they've been all around the world traveling, doing exhibitions, competing, teaching. They've done it all, and they're here today to talk about their history, their legacy, which is a new YouTube show that they also are doing, and just what it means to be a part of this culture and what's next. Please welcome Medea Sirkas to the show, ladies and gentlemen. Fazo, Tommy Washington.
What's up, everybody? How y'all doing today?
Good morning.
Good morning.
BoogalooDana, he's world renowned.
Oh, man.
Come on, man. They are here.
We here, y'all.
Appreciate it. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Appreciate the love, Sway. For sure, man.
Let me put it in perspective. To get maybe I can ask you guys this, because you were in the scene. When did you first start dancing?
I first started dancing in 1972.
Okay.
And my first experience on stage was at my church. You guys may have heard of the People's Temple with Jim Jones and all that.
With Jim Jones, yes.
Yeah, so that for me, it was that was my first experience, and it was crazy because during that time the church used to have talent shows, and the kids, we had to put on like a little dance skit and go up on stage and perform it. So we walked on stage. Well, I walked on stage, and I look back, nobody else was on stage but me. They started the music. I had to dance by myself. So I'm just dancing in my little space, and when I finished and I looked up, I had a standing ovation. And here we go. Fast forward to 2018. That was 1972.
And you still dancing.
Was
Jim Jones the original Jim Jones? That he took everybody to Guyana.
Yeah, man. That was a whole.
And then people drank that.
And I could have ended up over there, but moms wasn't having it.
Did any of your family members end up over there? Yeah. So you lost family members with Jim Jones.
Family members over there.
If you were in the Bay, and I'm sorry to hear that, like I have family members that visited that church as well. And we used to think, what's wrong? But we were over in Oakland. You guys were in San Francisco. And we didn't understand the connection. But when I have family members that was like, nah, you should go. And I never went. And I'm glad I didn't. What was the allure?
I'm going to tell you. Because, see, all people really know about the temple is the Guyana situation.
Yeah.
But in the beginning, it was a beautiful place to be. I mean, you had doctors, lawyers, you had entertainers, you had every nationality in the church from every walks of life. What he used to do is, I mean, we take in homeless people, take care of them, feed them, board them. Same with senior citizens. So it got to the point where, you know, a lot of people, they want to belong to something. So they just swarm to Jim Jones. They swarm to the church. And so that's how he lured them in, by just, you know, helping everybody. So it was a beautiful thing. Every Christmas, like all the kids, we would, you know, write a list of what we wanted. And Christmas time be bags all around the church with our names on it. My first skateboard was from them.
From Jim Jones?
Yeah.
Wow, damn.
So that's what lured everybody in. Just, he was a community person. He took care of everybody. But what happened along the way, you know how people get a certain amount of power?
Yeah.
And it just go to their head and they don't know what to do with it?
He got drunk off it.
He got drunk off of it. And then he took it somewhere else. It was crazy. I mean, I could be here all day talking.
Okay, we know, but that ain't why we ain't here to talk about Jim Jones. All right.
Yeah, but just to bring it back around,
yeah,
that was my first experience on stage, and I'm still dancing today from that.
Dana, let me ask you the same question. What was your first experience dancing? And what guy?
1972. I lived in North Oakland originally, and I seen these guys outside doing this dance. Like, what is wrong with them dudes? They always doing that weird dance. So then we moved to Berkeley, and I started going to junior high school. I saw the dance again. I said, there's that dance again. And so this guy, let me take you to the guys who taught these guys. So I went to a junior talent show. It was junior high talent. It was a group called the Soul Steppers. And it was the early stage of Boogaloo. The Soul Steppers. The Soul Steppers. Yeah. It was the early stage. This was the illusion stage when they used the black lights, the strobe lights. People creeping out on stage. I said, I got to learn. When I seen the reaction of that crowd, I said, I got to learn how to do that. So the head leader, Peanut, like my cousin. So I hooked my cousin with Peanut so he could show me how to dance. So they were about to go into a whole nother life. So they gave me the whole game and showed me how to do it. They went somewhere else. I took over the dance. And next you know, I'm the #1 dancer in junior high school in the 7th grade. And that's how I started.
How did you get your names? How did you get your name?
Faisal. Oh, well, I kind of got it from my mom, because when I was younger, I used to go to through different phases. And she'd be on the phone talking to her friends. You know, I don't know what phase he going through, today or this week or this month. And she would always say it, because you growing up, you going through different stuff. So, as I got older and got into the entertainment, I just used that Faisal.
Hey, put your headphones on too. BoogalooDana.
Oh, my fault.
Yeah, that's all right, man. How did you get your name? Well, BoogalooDana, pretty self-explanatory.
Well,
right?
Normally when you have a name, people give you the name.
Okay.
I didn't give it to myself. I was doing the dance, which was boogalooing, and next thing I know, everybody started calling me BoogalooDana, and I just kind of went with it, and that's how it happened.
That's true, people. Somebody gave me my name. I never really tell that story.
Oh, really?
When you said that, yeah, I'll tell it one day. So let me get. So Jerry Renty, you guys know who that is?
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Okay, let's talk about Jerry Renty. Jerry Renty was dancing way back in the 60s, correct? Or what do you know about Jerry Renty?
Jerry Renty is considered one of our elders and our forefathers in Oakland. I think he's in his 60s. And, Boogalooing started in Oakland in late 65.
Say that again?
Boogalooing, Oakland Boogalooing, with Doom, Boom, Boom. That started in 65.
Okay.
I started in 72. They were already doing it before me. Remember that weird guys outside didn't know what they were doing? Turns out he was one of those guys. Funny you should say that.
Okay.
And they are the early pioneers, and they made up all the moves.
Okay, and then who are the black resurgents?
The black resurgents are our forefather first actual dance group with the moves, routines, like actual routines.
Okay.
That's William Randolph and his brother and the rest of their groups, and they adapted the style from the singing groups. They wanted to compete with the singing groups, but they couldn't get in unless they dressed like them, and they had the formations like them. So they took like the Four Tops Temptation formations and added the poses, the hits, and the ripples and the dominoes, and that's how I created that style. With all kinds
It's all really fascinating and a little bit confusing for me growing up on the East Coast, and watching because obviously the Bronx was so close to where I was born and raised, so we got to watch the Rocksteady crew and all the movies like Wild Style and different things. And then the other side, just being a kid watching television, I would see what's happening and see rerun, like doing all these pop locking dances and couldn't figure out. It's like, how is he in California doing the kind of dances? So did Fred Berry, was his did he come from any of those kind of dance groups at all, or no?
He was in the Lockers.
The Lockers.
Yeah.
And where were they formed out of?
LA.
Los
LA.
Angeles.
That's
Oh,
Los
okay,
Angeles.
okay.
Yeah.
That's Tony Basil and all them, Fluky Luke and Don Camelot. That's L.A. They started at Maverick Flax, and before that, they started way back.
And
They got their own history.
Yeah, Don Campbell, he's the one who innovated and created, locking.
Locking, okay.
Yeah.
So that's Southern
And so
California.
What it was Southern California.
Yeah, and y'all are North. Yeah, I get it. And what was you gonna say about Fred Berry?
No, so he was a member of Don Campbell's group, the Lockers.
Got it. Okay.
And he got into acting and stuff
like that. Okay, cool.
Now let's put that in perspective, because what they said, that's Oakland history and L.A. history, and if you aren't from Cali, a lot of times back then people would clump it all together, right?
Yeah.
And we did the same with New York. I didn't know there was a difference between Brooklyn,
the Bronx,
Queens,
and
all of those things. So while you had groups like the Black Resurgence happening and the Black Messengers happening, right? Where was the L.A. scene? Was this happening all at the same time, or was L.A.?
Well, see, here's the thing. So you had in the Bay, you had the San Francisco scene, which was the strutting scene.
Yeah.
And then you had the Oakland Boogaloo scene. And then you had the Richmond advanced robot scene, right? So really, we were kind of doing our own thing out in the Bay. You know what I'm saying? And I'm from San Francisco. So in San Francisco, we was doing our own thing. We was strutting. We was, battling. We was doing, talent shows and stuff like that. So we really, like, L.A., we really wasn't looking at L.A. like that. Yeah. Because we had all of our stuff right here, right there in the Bay. You know what I'm saying? And so when we got wind of L.A., it was Soul Train.
Soul Train. Wow. Okay, damn. So y'all were already out there before.
We was already doing,
Before. So Soul Train, which influenced a lot of the country, wasn't influential.
No, we
was not influenced by that.
Okay, man, let's move these chairs out the way, because you just named 3 different styles, right? So I want to see, can we move the chairs out the way? Yeah, I want push them over there, Dana. Push them to your left, man. They're just totally out the way.
Okay.
Yeah, Faisal, push that chair to the left too. Okay, can you? And then do you need to hear the? You probably need the headphones. No, push it over there today.
Okay, cool.
You probably need the headphones to hear the music. But can you demonstrate the difference between strutting, boogalooing? Can you demonstrate?
Yeah.
Explain this real quick. Strutting is something that we do in routines, right? So it's a routine thing, but there's a solo style of strutting as well called the Fillmore.
Okay,
right,
and that's named after the area in San Francisco.
Exactly,
the Fillmore
from San. So that's what I'm doing.
The Black Resurgence, as I recall, also used to perform with the Black Panthers in and around their events.
Yeah, from my knowledge of what I heard, I actually wasn't there. From what the elders, being William Randolph, who was the leader of Black Resurgence, the Black Panthers would have rallies to gather the people around for information, and they would use them for entertainment to draw the crowd who normally wouldn't come see the Black Panthers. So they brought both of them together, and that was ideal.
And that was the ideal. So the way Dana and I know each other, Faisal as well, is, when King Tech and I first started, people met us as a rap group. But prior to rapping, it was a beat boy collective. You want to talk about that a little? What do you know about Flynamic Force and Master City Breakers?
Well, I remember Rock Hard. I remember Alex.
That's Alski.
Alski. You, Rod Habib. And I think they had a little guy named Jody, rest in peace, in the group at one time. And I remember Master City, which I believe was Tony, Diamond D. I think Turtle Rock was from the Mission. Damon Frost, who lives in Sweden. I believe he was the mascot, because every group had a mascot popper, you know what I'm saying? And then at some point, you guys collaborated together and made one thing, and it was the rest. Nobody had seen that before. You guys.
Yeah. And I came in, I wasn't actually, like, I came in towards the tail end when we start transitioning into the rap group, and then we just took the name Flynamic Force. Tech used to go by Wiz Tech, and then he switched it to King Tech, you know, and then we wanted to carry on the name to carry on the tradition, but they used to come out after y'all used to do the San Francisco Pier 39. You know, after y'all, they were the next generation of dudes who used to come out on the pier, and then throw the hat down and get the money.
Right.
You know?
That's right.
Do you feel like this history has been properly represented when you read history books or when you see documentaries, or are there other things that people should know that they don't know, why this form of dance has been so important and the significance of it being from the Bay Area?
You want to?
Yeah. Well, like, you know, like a lot of other things, you know, the independent hustle with the rap, the John Madden Raiders. You know, Oakland is its own thing. You know, with the black biker culture, with the Dragons,
East Bay Dragons.
You know, Oakland has always been unique of its own beast. It's never followed anybody else. I don't know what it is in the water. And the same thing was with this dance. And unfortunately, we didn't have the cameras and the media when we were doing what we were doing. You know, it's not a lot of footage around, so it was basically stories that we need to tell, and the people need to know the story of the original style that we did, because it's a beautiful story, and it's not a coincidence that this dance came out of nowhere. The culture is parallel to what the dance meant. You know, like the Black Panthers and the Black Resurgence, the people, the pimp hustler culture, even the way they dress influenced the dancers. You know, the swag. It's a whole culture that's missing, and then something really. That's one of my things is to kind of let people know about that.
And just to piggyback off what Dana is saying, it's like I don't feel it's properly represented because they haven't talked to the true pioneers from the Bay about the Bay. You understand what I'm saying? So if you want the true story, you got to talk to the pioneers that was there doing it. You know what I mean? And so they wasn't checking for us out there. They go to L.A. or New York. But we had our own things, and like I said earlier, we didn't get a wind of them till Soul Train. We had been doing it for years,
and you didn't even know. We didn't even know. Tech used to go by Wizard, and he was ill at popping too, though. But he was from the Bay, you know. He used to battle a lot of dudes. They battled too. He came after, but. That's how I got to know Crazy Legs. It's through the battles. I didn't know him. You know, it's through battling.
That's right. That's right.
You know, you couldn't. You had to battle to really make a name for yourself back then. How many battles did you guys have to go through?
Well, man, it was crazy because like to be in the San Francisco groups, the San Francisco strutting groups, man. Unless you was in the midst of forming the group. Yeah. Unless you was in the midst of forming a group, if a group sought you out, it was because you was tight soloing and battling. You know what I'm saying? And so in those days, it was like, you know, cats they had their own unique style, and you'd be like, oh, that person is dope. I saw him battle so-and-so. You know, I want to see if he can get in the groove. I want to see if he want to get down with us. So that's kind of how it was. You see somebody dope, and, you know, it was about being in a crew back then. If you look at it now, it's all about solo. Yeah. But back then, it was about, being a good solo, but being a part of a crew to be a part of a group to where on stage you can represent in so many ways. Yeah. So you represent out of the group, oh, they dope, and then unison, but then when they go out solos, you had your favorite solo person. Oh, I can't wait to so-and-so. And it was all different. Like now, everybody come out solo and they pretty much look the same with a little bit of difference that he put his own, but it kind of looked the same. It wasn't like that back then. It was all about group, and then giving that whole show, and giving that whole performance with the routines and the solos. You know what I'm saying?
Medea Sirkas are here. We're going to keep going through this history because Y'all filling in some gaps for me, and I hope this is making sense to those who are listening.
Mm-hmm.
Is it clarity, Mike Muse?
I have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
Any question?
So first of all, I love origin stories, right? And I love when you get a chance to talk to people who created original something. But I'm curious about like the naming of the dances. Like you call it the Fillmore, right? Like was there a collective where you guys at a park and you guys all said at the same time,
you know,
we're gonna call this the Fillmore and this the style, and if you move any way like this, that's doing an LA vibe, and we can't do LA vibe. So I'm just curious how that happened.
Things, really like names were organic. So you didn't say, okay, I'm going to call that the so-and-so. So in San Francisco was a guy named Ben James, right? Ben, he lived in Kansas City. He moved out to the Bay. I think he moved to Oakland and moved to San Francisco, back to Oakland, and then back to San Francisco, something like that. But he lived in San Francisco in the Fillmore district. So he was doing that dance that you just saw me do, right? Moving his hands, shuffling his feet, moving from side to side. And we just started calling it the Fillmore. He lived in Fillmore. We all lived in Fillmore. And it was just a name that stuck with what he was doing. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So, he was the one who brought that dance over, but it didn't have a name. Just the dancers named it.
And Fillmore is a neighborhood in San Francisco.
Yeah.
My car got broken in too when I moved to the Fillmore and I moved back to Oakland.
Thanks, Sway. Thanks, man.
That happened in the 90s.
Shots fired.
So when I think of some dance now, like it's not unique to see a young girl battle a dude like in a Millie Rockin' freestyle type thing, But I'm wondering, some years back, were women involved in these battles at all?
Oh, yeah. We have a famous one out of Oakland called Patricia Scott, the baddest dancer ever came to Oakland. She danced just like, she was real pretty. She looked prissy, but when she danced, she was hardcore. She was harder than the dudes. I guess she had to do that because she was pretty. She was really good. There was another called Rosie the Robot. She was out of Fremont. She was good. They had some, and Amelia from Derrick and Company. She was good too. She was cool, but it wasn't a lot. But the few they had, the few they had were dangerous.
Could a woman be a part of a crew, or was a woman more just?
No, they had a woman in the crew called Mia. I forgot her last name. She was in Derrick and Company, and then Rosie, I think, danced with John Murphy and them, and then I think Pat Scott was with a group called.
Yeah, Pat Scott
that's
was.
Her right. Yeah, that's her right there.
We were showing a clip of her on a
right.
Website. Yeah.
That's her right there. Yeah, but there you go. That's the crew she's in. 1972.
You can look her up on YouTube too.
Yeah.
And see, in San Francisco, you had actual girl groups.
Yeah.
You had the Diabolical 3, which was a spinoff of the one of the San Francisco top groups, Live Incorporated. Ladrina Green, Vette Langford, and Marsha. I forgot her last name, but yeah, Marsha. They was dope, dude.
That was dope, right?
They was dope. Pimpin' Playgirls. That was another crew that came, a group that came later on. You know what I'm saying? So it was females. It wasn't a lot, but the ones that actually took on that job of being, a strutter back then, they had to be dope, and it was dope.
We got Fazo and BoogalooDana are here from Medea Sirkas. We got Chuck on the line. Good morning, Chuck. How you doing?
What up?
Hey, Chucky.
Hey, what's happening, y'all? Hey, man, I know BoogalooDana, man. Hey, he can battle anybody, man. Anybody. I used to go to the dance at the Berkeley Auditorium when I was a kid. BoogalooDana probably was about 2 years older than me. He know I grew up with Troy Whittle and all them.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so now Troy, yeah.
Yeah, I was a
Dana,
hooper, though, but I see Dana off the BART train ready to battle anybody, ready to go. Didn't nobody want to see him, and if they did see him, he's going to tear them up. He always hit a move that shocked the world.
People used to fear Dana. Like, people used to see, he's one of those dudes you say, ooh, there go BoogalooDana. Ooh, but you never say nothing to him. Hey, man, thanks for your call, Chuck.
Thanks, Chuck, man.
Let me name some other names. Playboy Rob, Mr. Fantastic, rest in peace. Rubber Band Man. All of these different dudes used to dance with King Tech on the pier when he was Wizard. They all used to come and dance on the pier at that time. You guys, what is this legacy thing about?
The legacy show that we're about to do in the beginning of the year is basically telling our history and the Bay Area's history. Strutting. We'll have different artists, come in, different dancers, and interview them and stuff like that. But it's something that we decided to do, man, because we felt that the Bay Area needed a platform, to speak about their dance history. And so that's what we're about to do, and that's why we're doing it, to speak on our history and basically the Bay Area dance history,
You guys go by Medea Sirkas. What's your social media? I want folks, all the citizens, please follow these guys. Man, I owe you so much, you know what I mean? Because that energy, energy to me was the food. Like the energy you guys created through what you were doing back then. When you was young and impressionable, and that energy drew me towards that direction at a time when I was in the crossroad, trying to decide if I was going to go that direction or a whole nother dark direction.
Right.
And I was really plotting on the dark direction.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I got so caught up in, I can't do, well, hold on, I got to go practice. I got to go write. I got to go do all these different things that I didn't lend my time to go focus on those other things that I was beginning to organize. And it was because of the early energy that I would see with you guys. And my sister, Regina, and she was in the dance community heavy too. And she was through dance, using dance to keep me and my brother T. Cal, my brother Terry, on the right track. So when I say I owe you so much, y'all showed us, like when I saw the response that the response you talked about that you got at church, we used to see the response that you would get on the pier and go, what is this?
Right.
And why do I feel good?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I'm sitting there spectating, but I love what it brings, and that's why one of the reasons why y'all here today. If I never told you before, man, personally, man, I want to thank you for that energy you gave.
You're welcome. We appreciate that.
You paid. There's a lot of people in the Bay that's done that, but demons of the mind. I still say demons of the mind.
A lot of people still say demons of the mind.
But what y'all was doing was just because you were our version of y'all didn't do the same thing as a Rocksteady crew, but with Rocksteady and New York City Breakers represented to people in New York is what y'all represented to us in the Bay Area. Right. So that's why I wanted to have you up here and tell your story. What made you change the name? And what year did y'all change that name?
We started Medea Sirkas in 1991.
Okay.
Demons of the Mind we started in 1978, and Larry McDonald started Demons of the Mind. May he rest in peace. He started Demons of the Mind in 78, and in the midst of that, he ended up leaving the group, and then I ended up becoming the leader of the group at the time, and we broke up in 1985. I met Dana in 82 through Larry, actually, and we became friends and been friends ever since, 82. And he got in the group in 83, the end of 83. And then, we dismantled in 85. And Dana and I went on and started Medea Sirkas in 1991. And we changed the name because of the times. Yeah. You were there. You was around during that time where in the mid-'80s, didn't nobody want to see anything that had to do with this art form because the movies just exploited the dance and people were tired of it. So
about movies like Breaking,
Breaking 1, Breaking 2, Wild Style, all the Breaking movies, and they was tired of seeing it. So, when the rap came in, it was about that. And then, they had their dancers, but they wasn't doing what we were doing, So we started seeing like Hammer, Missy Elliott, and a few other people touch on the art form, but they wasn't doing it to the fullest. They was kind of just playing with it. And I was like, dang, dude, we need to put the group back together and make this happen. Dana, I couldn't convince this dude for nothing. He wasn't feeling it no more because it was kind of dead. So what I did, man, I'll make a long story short, I stayed up to about 6 o'clock in the morning, dude, in my room, making up some stuff, just some dope stuff. And I went to my boy, Justice Supreme, a.k.a. Cleo. I said, Cleo, dude, I said, man, we got to put this together and show Dana so we can get him back, right? So we put it together, boom, finally showed Dana. He kind of was feeling it. But I said, Dane, just come to rehearsal and we going to do it. And then he was on. And so that's how we started Medea Sirkas. But the times had changed, so we had to change the name. If we had came back as Demons of the Mind, it would look like old school.
Oh, I see what you mean.
So we had to reinvent ourselves. different costumes, different music, you know what I'm saying, and keep up with the time. So that's how we were able to continue on even to now, is just reinventing ourselves.
The social media, Twitter and Instagram is Medea Sirkas, but you spell it
MEDEASIRKAS.
So MEDEASIRKAS.
Yes, and that's, you can check us out on, follow us on Instagram, Medea Sirkas on Facebook as well.
You guys took the beat and then you sped it up and took everything to a whole nother level. What made y'all decide to start speeding up the moves and with the beat?
So we could do more movement in less time. And you got to understand, as time went on, people's attention span got shorter and shorter and shorter. So dancing off a 33 song, it start to look boring.
Okay.
So we end up speeding it up so we could do more moves and it'd be more exciting, and we can get more moves in shorter time.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Can y'all do a routine with two people?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we see something?
Yeah.
Is that cool?
Yeah.
All right, let's move the chairs again. Mike, help me with the chairs. Mike, help me with the chairs. YouTube show called Legacy coming out in January. They're from the Bay Area. Original strutters, pioneers of strutting and the Fillmore dance styles in particularly. I met a lot of them as demons of the mind, but I just know them from being in the Bay, just spreading this culture and giving us this energy. I just wanted to give y'all a little insight on who they are. They were very influential in my life. My partner King Tech, who used to be Wizard, a Flynamic Force, Master City Breakers, and this is a part of who we are. This is a fabric of all of our DNA. This is how I got here on Sirius XM on Shade 4-5, man. Thank you, man. All that MTV, all that stuff. Nah, man, this is where it all began. So I'm gonna get y'all to demonstrate. Okay, what style y'all about to demonstrate real quick?
San Francisco strutting style.
San Francisco strutting style. Lord Sear came in because he might want to battle y'all depending on how this goes. All right.
You like this San Francisco strutting style, and we're going to say Bay Area strutting style because Dana is from, he has ties in Richmond and Oakland, and I'm straight San Francisco, but the foundation is San Francisco strutting.
Okay. Here we go. Man, where we gonna get my glasses? Where my gazelles at?
We're doing this.
To this.
Do you guys know how to Millie Rock?
I don't know.
We stand on lane. We're down, but we stand on lane.
All right, man. That's Fazo, man. BoogalooDana, Medea Sirkas, man. What else is it that you want people to know, man? About this history and about what's next, moving forward. We in 2018. What do you think is next?
Next for
grab that mic right there.
Next for us or next for
for you? Next for you, and then next for the movement.
Well, we have people we're working with, kids that are we call them kids that are in their 20s, and we're showing them our art form because a lot of people don't know how to do this art form. That one we did, it's a very complex art form.
Yeah.
And at one point it was thousands of people who did it, but now it's we're the last of the Mohicans.
Yeah.
But we're trying to pass that down.
Okay.
So once we don't do it anymore, they can continue it.
Okay.
So I think the future is our youth, right? My daughter is 15, and I've been kind of priming her up to try to be in the group, but I want her to learn all styles. so she could just be well rounded.
Yeah.
So, but you know, she's been doing videos, you know, putting them up online and stuff like that. But I've been kind of preparing her for the group. So now she's actually in the group, right?
She's in Medea Sirkas?
She's in Medea Sirkas right now. Okay. All right. Right. My daughter Medea is in the group now, and we just did a show was it a week and a half ago? A week and a half ago, and she came out in solo. We had a little mascot spot, and she killed it, dude.
She killed it. Were you proud?
I mean, I was so proud.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm standing behind her. We all standing back here and letting her do her thing. And you know, I do this thing where I vibrate real hard, right? So she was up there moving, doing her thing, and she was like, I was like, I don't know if they saw me because they had these big screens. I was like, did she just do? Did she just do more shit?
Yeah. She bit you.
No, but I wasn't even tripping on that. I was more proud. I was like proud that she did it, right? And she never did it before, and I was like really proud though. So,
wow, that's amazing,
you know,
man. So y'all teaching kids, you know, the younger generation to pass on the tradition.
And something else we've done, which goes back to the uniqueness of Oakland being its own thing. We tied ourselves into the turf dancers.
Yes, that's smart. So the turf dancing has been a new movement of this millennium.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we have like 2 of them that contract with us.
That we deal with, yeah.
The top turf dancers is taking up room on the floor, as you know. And, so and they dance, but they also contract, and we do show, we merge with them. So we're actually merging two different cultures from the same
and
town.
setting it up for the future.
Setting up for the future. So when you and so what did you think of the hyphy dancing, the hyphy movement, and because turf dancing and that all kind of came around the same time?
I think it was dope, man, because you know during the time when we was coming up in Frisco in the Fillmore district, you know, strutting was what we did.
Yeah.
So that reminds me of what we were doing when we were coming up. But they got their own version of it. You know what I'm saying? So I thought it was dope, and I still think that it's dope in that they take it to the next level. And I think that's what they're doing.
I like when E40 would take some of these dancers off the street and put them in his videos, you know, tell them where to go and tell me when to go and all these different songs that he would do, and just kind of put the spotlight back, you know, on that youth and that youth culture, because as long as these kids are dancing or, you know, rapping or doing whatever, they ain't got time to do that mischief that's going to put them in that system that's going to take them down that little wormhole, you know.
It's ironic that you said that, man, because I think it kept a lot of us off the streets, man. Do you know how much stuff we could have got into, man?
Yeah.
And kind of did, but we had to go to rehearsal. So we couldn't go do it fully. We kind of oh, man, I got to go. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then it just, once it started picking up and you started doing more shows, more members, you didn't have time to go do the dirt. You know what I'm saying? So it kept a lot of us off the street, man. And it's a beautiful thing, and I think that's what it's doing to the kids today.
Yeah.
Hey, man,
you know?
Follow these guys at Medea Sirkas, MEDEA SIRKAS. Dana, we've been trying to do this for months.
Man.
And we could do it again.
Man,
you know, sometime come back after the show. You know, sometime next year we'll do it again.
Yeah,
that's what's up.
All right, we'll make that happen.
Okay, the next time y'all. How long y'all in town?
We'll be here until tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow.
And then
head
back to the Bay. Yeah.
And then back to the Bay. All right, I'll be out there for the holiday.
Oh, you will?
Oh,
okay,
will?
that's what's up.
Cool.
We gotta hook up.
You know where I be.
Lunch or something, man.
Yeah.
He know where I be. So.
So what I do want to say real quick is, you know, I want to give a shout out to a lot of the dance groups that came before Demons of the Mind, before Medea Sirkas.
Please do.
You know, before Demons, it was Live Incorporated, Close Encounters of the Funkiest Kind, the Electroids, Monty and the Mechanical Midgets, Granny and the Robotroids. So I want to give a shout out to all of those crews, you know what I'm saying, that paved the way for all of us. You know what I'm saying?
Gentlemen of Production
from Oakland. Yeah.
J. King and the Unknowns.
But see Demons. J. King.
Come on, man.
But look,
don't do that.
Hey, you didn't notice though, but Demons, when we were Demons, we used to battle Gentlemen of Production.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
now me and Dub, you know, we business partners now.
And we actually battled you guys.
Oh yeah, his group did.
Yeah, we battled you guys.
Yeah, he was in a group called the Criminals that battled us.
Richmond, we battled you.
Wow,
yeah.
man.
So,
well, there's so much rich history, and I love when it's being told by the people who were there.
Right on, man.
You know, not about somebody writing about somebody else's account of somebody else's account.
Right.
But the truth, you know. And, man, I appreciate it, man. I always got time for this. So y'all come back, come see me.
One love, Sway.
Okay.
All right,
man.
Right on,
I
man.
love you, bro.
Man,
love you too,
right
man.
on.
I love you.
Oh, I love you too, man. Right on, man.
Thank you, Sway.
Man,
Thank all of you.
Thank everybody.
You know?
Absolutely.
Oh,
Right.
man.
That's what's up.
And then also, a shout out to Dwayne Wiggins. He had the Alpha Omega Funk Band back then too. That was before Tony. Yeah,
They
yeah.
backed
And
up
the message,
They
yeah,
backed up
the
Resurgence
Resurgence,
band.
the
They were Resurgence band.
Yeah.
Yep. The Black Resurgence, the Black Messengers, all these legendary people, Jerry Renty, all these folks from the Bay Area that really was parallel. These parallel existences were happening at the same time things were happening in New York.
Right.
You know, and I found this kind of stuff really fascinating. This is why I like history, because I remember going to France in 2006. With me? No, I'm not sure if Rich was with me. And I was having these conversations with some people in France about what was happening at different times in France. And I was like, well, how was this happening then? I don't even, hip hop, was it even over there? But Africa Bambaataa and all those guys were traveling back then, you know, in the 80s and spreading, dropping them seeds in different parts of the world. So it's so much rich history that folks don't know about that need to be told, man. So thank you for doing this. Thank you for coming.
No problem.
No problem. Thank you. It's an honor.
Y'all make sure y'all hit them up, too. Also, we want to thank John C. Riley for coming by to talk about his new movie. And then also DJ Nick Bike for coming through, and Mike Muse.
Yo.
How can they reach you, Mike Muse?
Yo, you can hit me on Instagram and Twitter all day long at I am Mike Muse, M-U-S-and-Sam-E, if you have any election coverage questions. Also, too, citizens, tune in tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the Mike Muse Show on Insight Channel 121. I'm going to do a little bit of departure from politics. I figured give us a little bit of break. I have a country music artist on by the name of Jimmy Allen, so I think you're familiar with him.
He texted me, told me you did the show.
Yeah, he's a black country artist, and he is so dope. And so I ended up talking to him about the social constructs of country music. Is it a conservative genre? Is it just for Republicans? Can black people get into it? And what's it like for a black man performing in front of like a conservative white red state space on stage? And so we kind of get into all the kind of conversations. Super dope. Check him out.
All right.
He's on all streaming platforms. 6 p.m. tonight Eastern Standard Time.
DJ Wonder, how can they reach you?
I feel like a black man doing country every day. At DJ Wonder everywhere.
OQ, how can they reach you?
You can check me out on Instagram, OQ Shoots.
Have the B, how can they reach you?
I'm at the Happy Hour WH.